When the original Super Mario Bros. Debuted in 1985, it only had 3 power-ups. Almost every Mario game that has been released since has added one new power-up to the mix. As of 2023, there are well over 50 different power-ups in the Mario franchise. These range from shooting fire to flying, to outgrowing your enemies, and pretty much everything in between. But which one of these is objectively the best Mario power-up? Let's find out. After doing a bit of research, I loosely grouped each power into one of 3 categories. The first one I like to call Movement Improvement. These are power-ups that give Mario increased mobility, such as the Propeller Mushroom for maneuvering in the air, and the Frog Suit to quickly swim through the water. These powers are often fan favorites because they make the game easier by expanding Mario's movement options. For example, gliding through a level with the Acorn Suit is much easier than running through it on foot. The same thing can be said for most of the power-ups in this category. The next category is attacking power-ups. These give Mario another way of defeating enemies instead of just stomping on their face. This includes powers like the Boomerang, the Cat Suit, and the Fire Flower, which all give Mario an attack that lands directly in front of him. This category is where the majority of Mario power-ups lie. These also give you a pretty big advantage in boss fights, allowing you to defeat them quicker and easier. The last category is protective items that defend Mario. These are power-ups that give Mario an extra hit of damage without giving him any attacking moves. This is more of a broad category that leftover power-ups fall into. Most of these do a pretty good job at making sure Mario doesn't die, and some of them just make him completely invincible. Now that we've established all 3 categories, it's time to determine what the absolute best power-up is. Now hypothetically, this power would possess traits from each of the 3 categories. At first, I assumed this would be the Superstar because it increases your movement speed, lets you kill enemies by touching them, and makes you completely invincible to everything. Well, almost everything. But there's one significant drawback to this power-up, that being the time limit. Mario may be in peak physical condition with the Superstar, but only for about 10 seconds. Now, I understand that for this to be considered a balanced power-up, it absolutely needs to have a time limit. But when you're playing through a level, 10 seconds is hardly enough time to do anything. Not only that, but a slight increase of speed isn't all that much compared to the amount of height you can get with something like the Cape Feather. So with that being said, I decided it's time to keep searching. Now, upon my quest to find the best power-up, I quickly realized that Nintendo is very strict about keeping their items balanced. They want their games to be challenging enough to be fun, which is why they can't overdo how much power an item gets. Additionally, they have to monitor how often that item is being placed in a level. With this in mind, I started thinking about power-ups that aren't often seen in levels hardly at all. That is, unless you've failed at that level a numerous amount of times. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Invincibility Leaf. This is only obtainable if you've died 5 or more times in a level, and has only appeared in 3 Mario games. Not only does this power let you have a controlled air descent and another way of killing enemies, but you are indefinitely invincible until you beat the level. So did we finally find the perfect power-up? No. Something's not right. This feels too, well, powerful. And while you might argue that that's how the best Mario power should feel, I disagree. You see, the game only gives you this power if you're literally bad at the game. That's why you have to die so many times to even get it. In my eyes, this is no different than letting Super Guide beat the level for you in the 2D Mario series. Some people may even call this cheating. So with that being said, I decided to keep searching. Now, having talked about this leaf so much, it sparked another idea in my head. Think back to when the Tanuki Leaf first appeared in Super Mario Bros. 3. The game essentially had a speedometer for Mario, often referred to as P-Speed. Once you maxed out the P-meter by running at full speed, you had the ability to fly as long as you had the Tanuki Leaf. However, this does not apply to the Tanuki Leaf in 3D Land or 3D World. Now, in Super Mario Bros. 3, there were actually 2 variations of the Tanuki Leaf. The first of which just gave you a raccoon tail, while the other gave you the entire raccoon suit. The raccoon suit had a special ability that turned Mario into a statue. When Mario is in statue form, he remains completely invincible for about 5 seconds. In other words, this power-up has extremely strong qualities from all 3 categories, ultimately meaning we might have just found the perfect power-up. It allows for controlled flight and slow descent, you can kill enemies by simply swiping your tail, and you can become completely invulnerable to just about anything. This is objectively, in fact, the best power-up in any Mario game. Thank you for watching, and please, next time you see one of these lying around, don't take it for granted.